Strata Bites, your Strata update, with Frank Higginson from Redshift Strata Law.
Now, you might be wondering what the headline of this article actually means by the illusion of choice. And I suppose in one sense, I might go off-piste for the next minute or two in relation to a bit of personal opinion. From a strata perspective, take for example your AGM. You're asked to vote through the proposed budgets for the next year, admin fund, sinking fund, raise them in quarters, whatever it might be. So in theory, there's a choice, but in practice, there actually isn't. Because if you don't vote through those levies, then anyone can basically apply to the Commissioner's office to seek an order that the levies be struck, and they will be struck because body corporate have statutory obligations to be basically able to run themselves. They must keep common property in good repair and condition. They must insure the building. Those are costs that just aren't negotiable. So if you choose not to pay them at general meeting, you're going to be forced to pay them. The same sort of thing happens with respect to adjudications, and you see the appointment of administrators to force bodies corporates to do what they've otherwise chosen not to do at general meeting. So if the roof's leaking, and that's a piece of common property, that is a statutory obligation for the body corporate to keep in good condition. If it's not, then it's going to be forced to do so, and those administrators can strike levies against all of the owners, despite the fact that they voted to not repair the roof. So that's what I mean by illusion of choice. There's this theory that you've got an option, but you actually don't when push comes to shove. And I think one of the real big things that probably, in a sense, has brought this home to me in recent times is the legislation reforms in relation to pets. So for effectively 30 years, we've been operating on the basis that lawyers know what's going on with pets and adjudicators do, and there's been a raft of decisions that we're all relatively familiar with around what the rules are with pets. And that was all based off bylaws not being allowed to be oppressive or unreasonable. The last round of statutory reform in the modules, government decided, you know what, we're effectively going to bring into the legislation what adjudicators have been saying for 30 years. And since then, pet disputes have fallen off a cliff. Why? Because people now know what the rules are. They're not left there to guess about what oppressive or unreasonable is. They're told in black and white from a legislative perspective, this is what the position is. So again, that's another one where committees in theory have been able to make their own rules around pets because there's nothing from a legislative perspective that says that they can or can't. There's just all these rafts of adjudicators' rulings. But now that it's black and white, those disputes have stopped. So from my perspective, and this is something that I think the whole strata community in Queensland is going to have to deal with, is what else should we be looking at to codify, to take away the disputation that's created in community title scheme by words like oppressive or unreasonable. So that's an interesting one for everyone to consider. Happy to have your feedback.